everyone, Marian here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a pregnancy video for you guys. So I want to share with you guys today my spiritual birth plan and how I'm going to be incorporating some spirituality and Judaism into my pregnancy. Also, this video is a collab with my friend Danielle here on YouTube. She is awesome. She is also a mommy expecting a little baby, I think at the exact same time as I am. So it'll probably be a race to the finish line come March. But yeah, she is a lovely mommy YouTuber, and I will link her video below about spiritual pregnancy, so definitely go check her out. And if you're new here coming over from her channel, welcome. My name's Marian. I make videos about being a Jewish mom, minimalism with kids, and all things mommy life related, so definitely hit the thumbs up button if you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel down below. So I'm about 5 months pregnant now. I'll show you guys the bump. There he is. Oh. It's like hard to get him in the whole screen. Oh my God. So yeah, so you might be wondering, should spirituality and pregnancy even go together? And I think personally that it is a perfect opportunity, because pregnancy is this like ultimate connection event between all the biological, physical stuff in your body and all your emotional feelings about your pregnancy. Where to me, there's this like connection between science and miracles. So I think that incorporating Judaism or incorporating spirituality into your pregnancy makes absolute perfect sense. And I'm actually writing a book about Judaism and pregnancy, which will be out next year. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I want to talk to you guys about spirituality and pregnancy and what you can do if you're feeling like you would like to incorporate it more as you're pregnant. When my son was born, I brought a Jewish prayer book with me to the hospital, but I never took it out of my hospital bag. And I think part of the reason for that is that I didn't really think about what prayers I would say before I got there. I was just like, if I need to pray, I'll bring this. And of course, it was a very chaotic time. It was a traumatic birth experience, but I never really thought to take the prayer book out of my bag. And this time around, I really just want to create an actual like spiritual birth plan to go with me to the hospital, so that I have it set and ready to go, and it's not something I have to like figure out at the time. So I really want to share that with you guys as well. So the first thing I want to talk about in terms of a spiritual pregnancy is incorporating meditation into pregnancy. I have a whole separate video on Jewish meditation, which I'll also link below. But basically the way I do it is I focus on one line of prayer that means something to me, and then I try to just get into this meditative state. I actually found this really helpful for first trimester morning sickness, because it kind of was a spiritual way to like lift out of that nausea feeling for a little bit. Now, granted, I had terrible morning sickness. It is not like a magic trick in any sort of way. It's just a way to kind of calm the mind, like soothe myself and be like, okay, I can get through this. I've been through it before, that sort of thing. And it was helpful. So the next really common thing, especially in the Jewish religion, to do when you're pregnant is to go to the mikveh. The mikveh is a ritual bath type of thing. It's like a spa, only it's spiritual, if that makes sense. But basically, it's a really beautiful space. It's just a large like hot tub kind of looking thing. The water's not as hot as a hot tub usually, but it's just warm. And you get fully undressed, you say prayers, and you immerse yourself in the mikveh. And it's traditional in Judaism to do this in the 9th month to pray for a healthy baby and easy labor and delivery. And whatever your feelings about prayer are, it's just nice to take that time to reflect and have like a really spiritual moment to connect with God before this like huge life experience comes. The next thing I recommend for having a spiritual pregnancy is to celebrate Shabbat on Friday nights. It's really nice, especially if you're a first-time mom, so it's just, you know, you and your husband or you and your partner. It's a really nice way to connect as a couple and just have that time to kind of reflect on where you are in the week. I like to think of it as like, you know, those apps on your phone that tell you what week you are. So you can use Shabbat as a time to like check up, like, okay, we're this many weeks, we have this many to go, here's what we want to talk about during the pregnancy, here's what we want to plan for the next week ahead. So it's a really nice just catch up time. So whether it's just a date night and you're not Jewish and you don't need to call it Shabbat, but it's really nice to set time aside once a week to really connect with your partner, because you're going through so much change and your hormones are crazy, etc. before this new life comes into the world. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the spiritual birth plan. So I want to share what I'm going to be doing this time around with you guys. Of course, it's something adaptable. A lot of Judaism is expandable and you can incorporate many different things into it. So the idea of creating a spiritual birth plan is not something you're going to find in the Torah. It's not something the ancient rabbis talked about, but it's a way to sort of expand Judaism and bring it up to modern times. So that's what I like about it. And for me personally, I just picked 2 prayers that are super easy to say that I know off by heart, and I'm just going to write them down on a piece of paper. The first one is the Shema, and that's just the first line of the prayer. And what I'm going to do is when we go to the hospital, when we're like really in it, I'm going to say that prayer. I might not say it aloud, I might just read it, but I'll just take one little moment, hopefully, and just pray that labor and delivery goes smoothly. The Shema is also what we sing to my son every night before bed. So it's like we ask God to protect him through the night and kind of just like, you know, those last moments together before he falls asleep. I think it's also really special in that way. I would like also to just write a few sentences down to incorporate into that prayer, just in English, about what I hope and pray for the labor and delivery experience. So I haven't written that yet, but my plan is to write that down on the piece of paper as well. And then the second part of the spiritual birth plan is to say the Shehachianu when the baby is actually born. The Shehachianu is a prayer that you say when it's the first time something happens. It's not actually traditional to say this when a baby is born, and I talk a lot about that in my book. But the Shehachianu prayer is something, you know, that I've said throughout my life for different special events, different first things that happen. So for me, it means something, and it's special to use it as a birth. So that's what I would like to do. So that's my idea for a spiritual birth plan. I really encourage you to think about what prayers you would like to bring in with you when you go into labor and delivery. Mine obviously are very short and very simple. That's because I know that there's not a lot of time to sit around and read and do that sort of stuff, although some people have that experience. But I guess I would plan to keep it simple if I were you, just in case. But I think it's a nice idea to come up with one and to bring one in. And even if you don't have time to say it, maybe it's the next day or as you're leaving the hospital, to just take that moment and be thankful and be spiritual. So I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you checked out Danielle's video also. Thank you guys so much for watching. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.